Timmins, James Bay.
Well, Mr. Speaker, those bizarre evasions won't make this one go away because we know from the RCMP investigation that at least a dozen key Conservative insiders were involved in the Duffy expense scandal and the PMO orchestrated cover-up. So with the Duffy trial about to begin, will the Prime Minister tell us how many of his current staff have received subpoenas? And does the Prime Minister know whether or not there's any indication that he himself will be called as a witness by the defense?
The Honourable Prime Minister, Secretary of the Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, as I just said, we will continue to provide every possible assistance that we can to the Crown in its case against Mr. Duffy, Mr. Speaker. I contrast that, of course, to the NDP, Mr. Speaker, when the Leader of the Opposition had the opportunity some 17 years ago to come forward with information that would have helped the people of Quebec. He chose to hide that information, Mr. Speaker. Again, the NDP owes some $2.7 million to Canadian taxpayers. And instead of just paying that money which they owe to the Canadian taxpayers, they're doing everything possible to hide and make sure that they don't pay it. What they have to do is come clean and pay the taxpayers back the money they owe.
The Honourable Member for Timmins, James Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's something watching my honourable colleague fumble through his Rolodex of the ridiculous. But let's stick on the issue here, because not only are Conservative insiders being subpoenaed, but last week we learned that a number of key Conservative MPs have been called to testify. Let's call a real simple, straightforward question. Who's going to be on the hook for the legal bills of Conservative Party insiders and MPs? Will it be the Conservative Party, because this had to do with Conservative malfeasance and fundraising and bribery? Or will it be the taxpayer? It's a simple question.
The Honourable Prime Minister, Secretary of the Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, what we know is this, is that the NDP owe the taxpayers over $2.7 million, Mr. Speaker, and it'll be the taxpayer who's on the hook if they don't do the right thing and pay off. The member, for instance, for Trois-Rivières, who owes $30,000. Honoré Mercier, who owes $29,000. Jean Lebert, $31,000. The Leader of the Opposition, some $400,000, Mr. Speaker. The Leader of the Opposition, with the whip, Mr. Speaker, owes some $600,000 to the Canadian taxpayer. Make it easy. Just pay it back.
The Honourable Member for Newton.